Wow. Wow, what a great group of reindeer we got up there. And so, have you ever heard that song before? Alicia wrote it. That's why most of it hadn't heard it before. Yeah. And Alicia Archibald original. And stay tuned, we're going to have another one too. But okay, back to business. I'm Ann Grove. I'm your host for today's service. I'm also a practitioner here at CSL Parker. All practitioners, usually people wearing white stoles, are here for you. They're here if you stubbed your toe on the way over here and you want to talk about it, we're here to talk about it. If you had a great shower and you want to talk about it, we're here to talk about it. Practitioners are here for you to see the spiritual truth in your life. Just ask us. We love sitting down with people and praying. At Center for Spiritual Living Parker, we honor all paths to the divine, all paths to God. No matter where you have been, where you are going, no matter what you have experienced or why you came here today, we honor you and your spiritual path and your evolution. We do this by providing spiritual tools for personal and community transformation. In addition to our Sunday gatherings and posting them on YouTube, we offer classes and workshops. We also support different nonprofits in the area and as needed in the greater area. We tithe 10% of what comes in here through online pledges, through Sunday mornings. We tithe 10% back out into the world to do greater good and to keep circulation and abundance. Oh my God, Rudolph's here. I didn't see. Whoa! To keep circulation and abundance in everyone's lives. So I don't have to ask this question because I know there are several newcomers here, and I don't want to embarrass you, but if you would be so kind as just to let us know that you're a newcomer. Our ushers do have newcomer packets for you if you haven't gotten one on your way in. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing our holiday celebration 1 week early. In your newcomer packet, there is a small card for you to fill out. If you would be so kind as to do that, lets us know you a little better. Lets us add you to our email mailing list. Once a week, we'll send you an email that tells you what's going on around here. And we do have a lot of fun. Today's great evidence of that. So please do that. But really, most importantly, not just me, but I hope you guys get the clue here. not just me, but we want to say to everyone here, welcome home. We've been waiting for you. Okay, call and response does not work at New Thought churches. Got it. Lesson learned. So on that note, let's just all stand up or lean over and greet one another with a hug, a smile, a kiss, whatever it is that works for you. Let's all have a seat here. We could do the hug-a-thon all day long. All right, just a few quick announcements before we move on into the spiritual part of our service. We will not be having a Christmas service here next week. Don't come to Cimarron Middle School next week looking for us. You can go online. You can find us. You can watch today's service over. My friend Google will tell you a lot of places you can go, but please don't come here. We have a new member. Yeah, we have a new member class coming up after the first of the year. That is for new members, for people interested in maybe being members, for people who just want to know a little bit more about us and our philosophy. So Felina, right here, will be conducting the new member class. It's about an hour. It's no big deal. We don't tattoo you or anything. It's just easy. So please let Felina know, or if you can't nail her down, anyone in a practitioner stole can take that information and get it to Felina. Okay, next Sunday, you get a time for yourself, a time for family. The following Sunday, don't miss it. We're having a service like we have never had before. It's not going to be what you experience here. It's going to be very, very different and very special. Dr. Vern will be taking us through a process. I call it a process of evolution, a process of new birth. He will be doing a ceremony with us to look back at 2022 and identify the things that we just soon not carry into 2023. And he will be doing a process with us to help us not carry the things forward that no longer serve us. And that is not a group process. That will be individual. Nobody here is going to tell you what you want to leave behind and what you want to take forward. That's you. He will also do a process with us of intention setting. That's not goal setting. It doesn't mean I'm going to lose 15 pounds or I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. It means I am going to be happy and fit in my body. I'm going to accept my body and love it. So there's a big difference. You know, New Year's resolutions make it until everybody goes back to work. Intentions make it through the year. Many of us have done Dr. Vern's annual intention workshop that was done years ago. And wow, what we do on that one day really affects the rest of the year. So we're not doing an intention workshop. We're doing it January 1st, 1/1/23, 10 a.m. right here. Very similar to the workshop. I've said enough, and I'm looking forward to hearing another original from Alicia Archibald.
Parker, right. Oh man, I've been going around all morning long as Santa's spiritual leader here and helper in order to get to all of our centers today. I've been running as fast as I can because Santa told me he wanted me to make sure I made them all, and thank goodness it's helping my diet. So the first thing I always do, though, is I have to introduce my helpers that I have at each center. And I'd like to introduce the practitioners, our center helpers. Please put your red horns on and stand up and ring your bells. Come on now. Ann was telling you these are the people that you pray with, right? They celebrate our joy. They celebrate our changes in life. So please call upon them. It's the greatest gift that you can get this holiday season. Thank you. Now, most practitioners will come up here, and you know I'm not like everybody else. You always got to do my own thing, right? So anyway, I thought it's most appropriate that in this holiday season that we understand a few things that we kind of go through routinely, right? And we don't know why we're doing it. So the first one is I want to tell you a little story. I want to tell you about a man that in 1939 worked for Montgomery Ward. And if you remember, that was the time of the Depression, right? Well, Montgomery Ward used to go out and hire a professional to write a children's book to tell a story. And that year, they realized that they had a department of writers. Normally, they did, commercials and stuff. And they decided to save money and go internal. So they went to this gentleman, Robert L. May, okay? And Robert, he was an outcast, let's face it. He was kind of a nerd, right? And it happens all the time in society. There's a nerd, and thank goodness there are some, because in this case, he was a special person that was asked to write the children's book that year. And so he wrote the book. And, you know, we've all heard a lot about, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, all those deer. But he sat down and he had a 5-year-old daughter, and he wanted to do something special because she loved deer, right? So he decided to write about Rudolph. Okay? And he was so excited, and he read it to her, and he talked to her about it, and then he took it to the boss, and the boss goes, "Is this the best you can do?" And and he mustered up the courage. He said, "Look," he said, "this year," he said, "my wife is cancer, and she's not going to make it. And this is my gift to my family. So I'm going through with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer." So what are the words? They're all near and dear to the heart. If I were a good songster or singer, I'd be singing it to you, but I'm not. So let's listen to the words, though. And by the way, I want you all to pick up your socks. You didn't get those stockings just because it's Christmas. It's because the stories I'm going to tell you relate to those stockings. And I want every one of you right now, while I read this, to pull out your red nose, and I want to see them on. Because one of the things in our lives that we tend to do is say we're adults and we're not children anymore, and we don't take time for the fun things in life. And it takes a lot to wear a red nose. So if you've got a sense of humor and you're going to celebrate this holiday, please put on your red noses. They're in your stockings. Meanwhile, you know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid, Donder and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of them all? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer, well, they used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any of the reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa, my boss, came to say, "Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?" Well, then, of course, all the reindeer loved him, and they all shouted out with glee, "Yay! Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer has gone down in history." So thank you for putting on your noses and shining the light of the laughter that we can all share in this holiday season. Now, also in your bags, you're going to find a candy cane. Please take out your candy canes. And I'm sorry if you didn't get a bag. I underestimated attendance, which is a true blessing. So why do we even have candy canes? Well, it originated in Germany, and it was when a cathedral's choir master used them to quiet the children during the Christmas Eve service. Many things have a spiritual intent, don't they? So I also found a poem about candy canes. The meaning of candy cane. Look at the candy cane. What do you see? Stripes that are red for me. White is for my Savior, who's sinless and pure. J is for Jesus, my Lord, that's for sure. Turn it all around, and a staff you will see. Jesus, my shepherd, was born for me. So perhaps when you look at the candy canes, you'll bring near dear to your heart the celebration of Jesus the Christ. Also, you'll find that you have in your bag an orange, and it's at the very bottom. And we've seen it where oranges were given. I thought you might like to know why. It represents the gift of gold from St. Nicholas. When St. Nicholas was a saint, it was before he became a bishop, he rode through a town where there was a shopkeeper, and that shopkeeper had 3 daughters. And his concern in life was that they had no dowries, which is absolutely necessary if you're going to marry in those times, right? So in this situation, what he wanted was to make sure that when he passed away, they weren't destitute. And the Bishop Nicholas, realizing this, the father, that he was so poor, that he decided to ride through town, and he put 3 sacks of gold down the chimney where the family was sleeping. And one of the bags landed in the toe of a stocking that was hanging there at night. So the heat melted it into a ball of gold. When they awoke, they found that the one that had fallen was this wonderful ball for them. And so people started giving the orange. It's a way to celebrate generosity and caring for others without thinking about getting a gift in return. It's meant to symbolize the gold ball and to remind us that we need to care for each other. There's one other item that's also in your stocking, and it will be an item of currency of the United States. And you'll find that every coin where the face is reads, "In God we trust." So we are truly blessed to be here, spiritually free in this country where we believe in God. And we, as unity members, believe in the one God that is good for all. So even this evening, we will worship together, because what is the beginning tonight of? What holiday for the Jewish religion? Who knows? Hanukkah. At sundown tonight, the first candle will be lit. And that first candle is one of 8. And the story is that each candle they light, they do it with a confession that says, "I can give more good to the world," each night that they light a candle till they get to the 8th, because they managed to have oil for light and heat for 8 days, which was unusual for the amount of oil that they had. So they were gifted with the oil they needed, and that is giving thanks every night. So please, this evening, remember that we, recognizing all faiths, will also be praying and saying thank you to the one God for all. Thank you.
Turn again, huh? Our turn. So today marks a kind of a momentous day for me. I get to start my new job in Steamboat Springs, and I'll actually be leaving from here to go there and get to make an impact on another community, and I'm excited about that. And I just wanted to recognize Connie, who's here today, my life partner. I'm really happy you're here with me. And it's a see you later time, but it's not a goodbye time. So the song I chose to sing today is called Between Us, and it's from Denise Rosier, and I think that to me it speaks the most, because it's about the love. Even though there's space between us, the love that's between us stays. And so we are holy. We get to share that love with one another. We share faith with one another. And so it takes away the distance, I think. There's a
do feel the love alive in the space between us. I hope I can get through this without shedding a tear. Okay, I'm going to tap my funny bone. You guys know that I love Dr. Vern, right? Please just know that. Dr. Vern has elevated my consciousness so much by what he says here on Sunday, by his small classes, by just being who he is. He has really elevated my consciousness, and for that I am eternally grateful. But I'm afraid I'm really worried about him today. The gauntlet has been thrown down, not once, not twice, but I'm going to throw it down a third time to challenge Dr. Vern. Well, maybe he won't even have to do it before I throw the gauntlet down. At any rate, as I see it, his big issue is he has to follow Reverend Marilyn's message from last week. And wow, that is a tough act to follow. Oh yeah, and he has to follow practitioner Colleen DeVries, who gave us a great, unique message of her own. And he gets to follow me. That wasn't the funny part. His message is putting the Christ in Christmas. Do you know how to get the Christ in Christmas? Anybody? You can go home early if you know. You erase the X. Xmas, Christmas. You erase the X and you've got Christ back in Christmas. Okay, picking on myself was a lot funnier than picking on Dr. Vern. So with that, I am proud to welcome Dr. Vern to give our message once again.
Well, little secret. Each of us contains the Christ, and we don't need to compare ourselves to anyone. We are each a very special light. Oh my gosh, it's so good to have all of you here today, friends and whatever alike. I thought a lot about Reverend Marilyn's talk. It was very powerful. And she addressed the whole notion of, well, where are we going to go and how are we going to get there? And when we get there, how do we address ourselves? And where do we find the Christ? And that, to me, is what the journey of today is about, is how do we discover? How do we find the Christ within? Because before I finish this morning, what I can tell you is that hopefully each of you will walk out with a new way to put the heart into Christ when you say Merry Christmas. And everything that I share with you is a reflection of my own journey. And my own journey has been very challenging at times, very powerful at times, very frustrating at times, because discovering the Christ within is not an easy journey, I have discovered. So I want to begin, and I usually don't bring notes because they get in my way with my connection with the divine within. And sometimes I get so many downloads at the same time, I have to say just one at a time, please. That's all I can handle. And so I want to begin by saying, where do we start? And I think if we are going to put the Christ in Christmas, does it make sense that we first discover the Christ within ourselves? They tell us that when we were born, the Christ seed was planted in every one of us. No exceptions. You might think you were an exception, but I tell you, you were not. And we spend our lives many times trying to convolute, to cover up, and to hide this great gem that lies within each of us. So in this season, it makes sense to me that we figure out, how do I bring the Christ back within myself? So I want to describe what I think will make some sense. And I have a lot of help up here. I have Ernest Holmes, P. Raymond Stewart, Paul Ferrini. I have the Buddha itself. To me, God represents love. And when I find the Christ, I find love. Or put another way, when I find love, I discover the Christ. And that has been my journey, lock, stock, and barrel. They tell the story, and this is a really weird story. They tell the story about God and the angels hanging out one day in heaven, and so the angels are talking with God about this seed of perfection, and they said to God, God, where can we hide this seed that nobody will ever find it? So God scratched his white beard, I guess, and he said, well, you know, we could hide this. The angel said to God, we could hide the seed on the highest mountain on the planet Earth. God said, that won't work, because I know people, they'll find it. How about underneath in the deepest trench in the ocean? No way. No way. Knowing these people, they'll find that too. So God said all of a sudden, I got it. I know how to do it. We'll hide it within themselves, and they will never find it. And being on this journey, I can tell you that's absolutely true. I think it's so funny because we read books, we have all kinds of wonderful things happen to us in our lives, and we take classes, and it's really an elusive thing to find the Christ. Well, I can tell you a hint is that Christ is in love. The Buddha said to us, and I will quote this, in this world, hate never dispels hate. Now think about that. Only love dispels hate. This is the law, ancient and inexhaustible. Have you noticed in your life that it really doesn't do any good to hate those that we don't really like? Does it do any good to hate the ones that are the haters of our country? The ones that seem to divide us? Here's the deal. Oh, how sobering is this thought. It isn't them. It isn't those people. It isn't the fault of those that create division in our country, because look at it. We're on the sidelines observing all this and we go, oh, those terrible people. Then we look in the mirror and say, who is judging those people? Who is the hater at the moment? Well, that thought brought me up short, I will tell you right now. So, What's the answer? Well, for me, part of the answer is we've got to stop looking in all the wrong places. You heard that country western song, looking for love in all the wrong places? Well, we look out at the world and we judge it and we say, God created a flawed universe. God did not create a flawed universe. God created individual humans and gave them a gift of free will and choice. And some people abused it. But here's the deal. What I'm saying about this love and hate thing is it doesn't help the world when you and I sit on the sidelines and hate the dividers. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Don't you see? We are both the problem and the solution, you and I. Would you listen with me for a moment? Can you hear it? It is the sound of the angels pleading with us to heal within ourselves that which needs to be healed. Matthew Fox is a great modern day mystic, and he's written several books, and I can't tell you which book this comes from. But he tells the story of the valley up around Aspen. And in this valley, there are all these beautiful places where the water just bubbles out of the ground. And then Matthew Fox says, so what is the source of the water bubbling out of the ground? Because some religions will look at the water coming out and saying, if you drink of this water, you shall be saved. But we have the only patent. So you only drink our water and you will be saved. But then Matthew Fox says, where does all that water come from that's in those individual bubbles coming out of the ground? That great aquifer that feeds them all, the one source that Colleen talked about this morning, that we sometimes call God, the God of our understanding. And so then what it says is that no matter what it looks like, it all comes from the same source. And that source is in each of us. Emerson said in his essay on the oversoul, he said, man is a stream whose source is hidden. You see, that's part of the challenge we face, is that source is hidden, but what we get to see is the form of it all. As I look around this beautiful room with the antlers and the noses, I don't see many red noses right now. But it's like, okay, it looks like we are separated. But if in fact we all come from one source, Ernest Holmes said it best when he gave us 5 steps for prayer. Step number 1, God is the one source of all life. Now, he did not say there are some exceptions. Now, in your life, I want you to think of somebody you don't particularly like that much. that person is part of the same source that you and I are. Someone once said, the important thing is that not that we like somebody, but that we bother to look beneath the surface and go to the heart and the center and the core of each of us. So the outward part, do you think God's got a sense of humor? Yes. Look around this room and look at all the different shapes and sizes and forms of all of us. And we judge some to be weird, some to be not so weird, and some to be this or that. But could it be possible that the mastermind knew what it was doing? It gave us the greatest challenge on earth, which is if we are going to discover the seed of perfection, we got to do our work. We got to dig deeper. In a couple of books, one of my favorite books is a book called The Laws of Love by Paul Ferrini. The second law of love is equality. Now, I have to admit, I had trouble with the law of equality because I looked around my life and I said, we ain't all equal. But in form, we're probably not. But in our essence, we are equal in the mind and the eyes of God because we're all created by the same master, all from the same aquifer. In this book called Living as God, one of my favorites, it really challenged my beliefs, but he said, we are all different beams of the same light, shining into each other, shining through each other. We are all different ways that the same holy presence is living and experiencing its one common light. He goes on to say, which really made sense to me, the world believes in our separation, not our oneness. So I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking, this separation thing is big. The second step of 5-step prayer treatment is unification, unity. What it says, I always challenge people. I say, you say the prayers, but do you believe what they say? Are we all one, or do we just say that because that's what Ernest Holmes said we ought to say? I grew up learning how to memorize all these prayers, and after a while they never meant anything to me. So what my statement to people is, pray and feel it and mean it. So one of the things we can do this holiday season is begin to learn to accept all others. Not some others, all others. Whoa. Oh, I wanted to tell you, I hate to digress, but I did write a letter to Santa Claus. And I said, Dear Santa, I've been good all year. Well, most of the time. Well, once in a while. Never mind, I'll buy my own stuff. You heard Reverend David Howard speak a couple weeks ago. He's an awesome speaker and a very beautiful soul. And one of the things I found out, he brought CDs that day, and so I took one home and listened to it, and he's an amazing singer. And one of his songs that he opens with is, "Let's love one another. Let's care for one another." So this season, I have one more thing. Sorry, it's getting busy here. Let's also think about the invisible people in our lives. Those people that we may have discounted and said they don't matter because I don't like them anyway. That's probably somebody that God made a mistake with. So the way I summarize what I'm talking about this morning, I've been told to keep this talk short because there's food coming. The way I would summarize it is as follows. Take time to connect. You know, in the classes I've been so privileged to teach recently, I thought about it. In our class, we do a check-in. Takes about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how yappy people get, and I don't monitor it. And then we have maybe 30 minutes to discuss the book, and then we go to takeaways, and that's another 30 minutes, but listen carefully. What we're doing is connecting with each other in a very, very safe space. And you can feel the love in that space. So take time. Take time to open your heart. Where, you know, sometimes it just takes a deep breath to breathe in deeply. Kenny's a great one at teaching us about breath work. But to breathe in deeply and feel our hearts get out of the head, because the head is where the judge resides. I will tell you, if you're really connected with your heart, you cannot judge. Try it sometime. Third or fourth or wherever I'm at, go beyond the surface. Go beyond how that person looks, what their personality is like, what they say. Really try on for size this season this whole concept of equality. The person that you don't like so much, bother to understand, maybe you can't, I don't know, sometimes I can't. How am I equal? How is that person equal to me? And sometimes I have to let go of all judgment. No! You know, we look at the core of each of us, where that pure seed of the Christ resides. We may have to go down through a maze, go down through the cave, go down through all these little labyrinths to find. And sometimes I've given up. I said, God, I can't see it. Show me. Because I don't have the eyes to see it right now. And I need help. You know what? You'll get your answers always. Next, move to a space of acceptance. If you don't understand someone, that's okay. Just accept. Accept them for who they are. God don't make no junk. Nor any mistakes. Just because they don't look like you, don't talk like you, don't believe what you believe doesn't mean they are wrong. Just means your lens may need to be polished a little bit to see things rightly. Rudolph was sure had a tough time for a while, but he was just an oddball. There's some people probably think you and I are oddballs, right? So what? Okay, the last step, I have no idea where I'm at, but I will say this before I finish because it's really important. Do what you can do to discover your own Christ within. And when you find the Christ in you, you will be able to see it in others. I promise you. Guaranteed. And when others talk about the division in our country, just don't judge them for that. Just go within for yourself and see, where am I in my beliefs about our country, about our world? And I'll tell you what, instead of judging, try praying. Every morning I go, well, I've not been going for a prayer walk the last couple of days. It's been mighty cold. But I'll tell you what, I pray every day for our country. One country under God, indivisible. You see, you and I should be indivisible within ourselves. Then we will look out on the world, because the world is our mirror. What we say about the world, we are saying about ourselves. Do you hear me? It is absolutely true. Now, I will conclude by saying what Reverend David said in his song. This holiday season, let's love one another. Let's care about one another. Let's see the good in each other. Oh, and here's the clincher. Let's see the Christ in one another. And I'll tell you what, the reflection will come back to you brilliant, radiant. You will experience the divine in ways you've never experienced it before. So, I would say this to you. Merry Christmas. Let's have a prayer. In the silence, I send out a thank you for all those mystics and individuals who have gone before us to show us the way to think, to act, and to believe, that we might discover within ourselves the Christ. I know that as I am greeted, as a friend of mine always says to me, "How are you?" And he always says, "Just right." Can we see others as just right? I know that with a heart full of gratitude and a heart full of love, we each reach out and love the unlovable, and live as the Christ child, because the Christ means that we are the anointed ones. You and I are the anointed. So we move that now from our lips to our actions. I bless each of you this holiday season, knowing your season is filled with the Christ light. And please join me out now in declaring with me, and so it is.
I am the place where God is, moves and breathes and has its being.
Part benediction. Part benediction.
Oh, okay.
I am the place where God is, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God is, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
This is our time of offering. What you give from your heart, I know returns to you manyfold over. And I know the offering that is given here goes out, recirculates to you, recirculates to the world, and brings only good everywhere. So if you would take your gift, or your hand if you give electronically, and place it against your heart, and repeat after me, I give this gift for you. I give this gift for me. Knowing that as I give, so shall I receive. And so it is.
So it is.
And if our usher could please come forward.
I am open to receive. I am open to receive. Open to receive all God's dreams. I am open to receive. I am open to receive. Open to receive all God's dreams. Open to receive. Open to receive. Open to receive all God's dreams.
And I bless these offerings knowing that these offerings, tithes, and gifts multiply many-fold over, that these amplify and do the good in the world that is God's good to be seen and blessed everywhere. And so it is.
So it is.
So I'd also like to give thanks to somebody else. Maybe only one person, maybe two. I'm not sure. But I would like to ask every person who has participated in making this service today, doing the work, the table, the meditation, every person that has given their love to making this service today, would you please stand up so that we can know? Oh, nobody stands up. Okay. Well, and that's the same darn thing that happens when we ask for volunteers. So that approach doesn't work. We'll try something else next year.
All in the kitchen.
Let's see. Here we go. Potluck. Guess what? God gave us an extra hour in the church today. Stay, hang around, eat, make happy with all your friends. We have these tables set up back there. Please feel free. Move your chair back so you can sit down and really, nothing else is coming to me, really pig out. So, I'm so glad for this service and for all these people here, and I would like to invite Dr. Vern to go ahead and give our benediction, please.
Will you bring him up in a minute? I want to thank our fantastic band for their work, each of you. What a great job. We're grateful for each of you. And Alicia, I don't know if people know this, but this is Alicia's last day, and my heart is so sad. So Alicia, would you come down here so that we could present you with something special? Thank you, Ann. Alicia has been with us for a number of years. Her voice touches every one of us so deeply in such a special way. Alicia, I cannot even tell you how much we're going to miss you, but I want you to know that we are so grateful for all that you've done for CSL Parker. And these are our token of gratitude. Would you all please stand and acknowledge Alicia?
Thank you.
Well, every good piece of good news should have a bad news should have a touch of good news. I just want you to know that we have exceeded our pledge for this year. And something else that's probably even more special to me is that everyone who pledged for this last year, we have honored the pledges 100% plus. So, in other words, we didn't say we're going to give this much money and not do it. We did it. So my antlers are off to you. Oh, look at you. Anyway, so let's have a prayer, and then we're going to go feast. I say thank you, Spirit. Thank you for this moment and all the moments to follow. Thank you for all the love that we share with one another in this holiday season. And thank you for the spark that we see in each person. Just know that all the noses shine brightly and that our hearts are filled with love. And we not only exchange presents, but we exchange love. So I say thank you to each of you for your contributions to my life, to the heart and the soul of CSL Parker. Go forth in great love and peace and harmony and all things good. And so it is.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año. You know those words. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Take it away, Dale. Wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. Wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. Wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. Wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Merry Christmas and have a blessed end of the year.